Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a super useful tool in JavaScript, the switch statement. We're going to break it down in a way that's really simple and easy to remember, using an object you've probably used 1,000 times.
So let me ask you this. What on earth can a vending machine teach you about writing code? Yeah, I know it sounds a little out there, but trust me, by the end of this, you're going to realize you've always understood the logic of a switch statement.
Okay, let's jump right in. Just picture it. You're standing in front of a vending machine. It's super familiar, right? You know the drill. You make one choice and you get one result. Well, that simple, everyday machine is the perfect model for what we're about to learn.
Let's just walk through how it works. First, you give it an input. You press button A1. The machine then takes that input and checks it against all its available slots. When it finds a match, the case for A1, it spits out your chips. And what if you press a button that doesn't exist, like Z9? Well, it has a default plan for that, right? It might just buzz at you or give your money back. Input, check, match, result. It's really that simple.
And this is it. This is the whole idea. A switch statement in JavaScript is basically a vending machine for your code. It takes one value and then runs it through a series of checks to figure out what to do. The logic is identical.
So, if we want to get a little more formal about it, here's the textbook definition. A switch statement is just a tool that takes one value, your button press, and checks it against a list of possible cases. As soon as it finds a match, it runs the block of code for that specific case.
All right, I think we've got the concept down. So now, let's peek under the hood and look at the actual blueprint, the keywords and the syntax that make this whole thing work in your code. You really only need to know these four main keywords. Switch is what kicks the whole process off. It's you telling the computer, hey, check this value for me. Case is like each slot in the vending machine. The computer asks, is it this one? How about this one? Then you've got break, which is like a giant stop sign. It tells the computer, yep, we found it, stop looking and get out. And finally, default is your safety net. It's the code that runs if nothing else matches.
Okay, enough theory. Let's see how these keywords actually come together in a real piece of code. We're going to build a super simple pet helper that tells us what sound an animal makes.
Okay, check this out. We start with a variable, pet, and we set it to dog. This is our input. This is us pressing the dog button on our vending machine. The switch statement then grabs that pet variable and gets ready to check its value against all the different cases we've listed. So let's put on our computer thinking cap and trace this line by line. First, the computer sees our pet variable is dog. Then it goes to the first check, case cat. Is dog the same as cat? Nope. Okay, moving on. Next up, case dog. Is that a match? Yes, bingo. So it runs the code inside and prints woof to the console. And then, and this is so important, it hits that break keyword and just leaves the switch statement entirely. Job done.
Now, switch statements are awesome, but there's one really common mistake that trips up pretty much everyone when they're first starting out. Let's talk about the biggest gotcha so you know exactly how to avoid it. That break keyword we just talked about. It is absolutely crucial. If you forget to put it in, a weird thing called fall through happens. The code finds a match, does its thing, but then it just keeps on going, falling through and running the code for the next case, even if it doesn't match.
Take a look at this comparison. On the left, with the break, our code works perfectly. It finds the dog case, prints woof, hits the break, and stops. Clean output. But look at the code on the right. Uh-oh. Without the break, it finds the dog case, prints woof, and then just keeps going. It falls right through into the cow case and prints moo, too. This is almost never what you want to happen, and it shows you exactly why that break is so important.
So right about now, you might be thinking, hang on a second, couldn't I just do all this with a bunch of if and else if statements? And you know what? You're totally right, you could, but it's all about using the right tool for the job. Let's look at when you should use each one. Think of this table as your cheat sheet. You want to use a switch statement when your logic is just like that vending machine. You're checking one single variable against a whole list of very specific exact values. It just makes your code way cleaner and easier to read. On the other hand, you should stick with if-else when you need to check for more complex things, like a range of numbers. Is the score greater than 90? Or if you're checking multiple conditions at the same time. All right, let's boil this all down. First, if you remember nothing else, just remember that a switch statement is like a vending machine for your code. It's the best way to think about it. Second, it's designed to check one value against a bunch of different case options. Third, and this is the big one, Always remember your break keyword. And finally, reach for it when you want to write cleaner code for checking one thing against many specific possibilities.
So now you have this really powerful and clean tool in your JavaScript toolkit. The only question left is, what's the first vending machine you're going to build with your code? Thanks so much for joining me.